Hello, everybody. Welcome to tonight's webinar, our WEGO Health webinar. Really happy that everyone can join in. So as you come into the room, make sure to say hi in the chat box, maybe pop in where you're tuning in from. We'll just wait a few moments to get people a few seconds to join in. If you are watching in our WEGO Health closed Facebook group, feel free to add comments and questions and where you're logging into as well right on the post. Tonight, you have myself, Julie Cerrone-Kroner. I'm the WEGO Health Patient Leader Network Director, and you have Kristen Long, our coordinator.
Hey, everybody.
And Jackie Zimmerman. Oops, sorry. I'm like talking over you. And Jackie Zimmerman, our Patient Leader Network Manager, is over in the Facebook group. So if you're asking questions, she can answer them, or she'll send them over to us that we can answer at the end. So just give a few more seconds for people to come in. And then we will get started tonight. Tonight's topic is something that we get asked a lot about. So we thought, hey, let's do a webinar on it so that we can definitely answer your questions live and also have it as a great resource on our blog and on our experts platform so that you can always go back and refer to it for questions and different things like that. In case you did not know, on our WEGO Health Experts platform at the bottom, there's a little intercom, and it's really just a chat between you and us. And we're always there. If you're asking questions, we'll get back to you. If we're not there right that second. But questions about proposals is something that we definitely get a lot. So hopefully this will answer a lot of your questions. So why don't we get started? Kristen, I'm going to hand it over to you to kick us off.
Awesome. So today we are, like Julie said, talking all about top tips to landing your next engagement. And a lot of this requires to first be comfortable with the platform. So just like anything, when it's new, it's kind of foreign. So we just want to go over how to get started on the platform. Most of you already have your profile set up, but we're going to go over the next steps, such as going over the dashboard, which is the most common page you'll see when you're on the platform, as well as how to personalize your notifications. And then we'll jump on into the engagement process. And this is really what we want to focus on. So we'll go over how to browse for engagement on the platform, different ways to initiate contact with the client, such as inquiries, but we're really going to focus on is submitting proposals, and not just proposals, but winning proposals, because we want to score those engagements.
Absolutely.
So getting started, you've got your profile approved, and now you're ready to start rocking the platform. So the first thing you're going to see is your dashboard. And the dashboard is the page that you'll go into every time that you sign into your WEGO Health account. And it really helps you track the status of your engagements, any activities of those engagements, and your payments. So here we have an example, and you can see there's a client rating. So this is something that after every engagement, both the client and the expert get to review each other. And those ratings and reviews are reflected in your dashboard. So you can keep track of your ratings there, and your ratings are also reflected in your overall profile. But what I really want to focus on is the actual meat of the dashboard. And there you're allowed to keep track of your engagements. So we keep them split into 3 categories: your pending, active, and your all engagements. So pending is anything that maybe you just submitted a proposal and you're waiting to hear back from a client. Maybe you submitted an inquiry or are waiting to hear more about questions. But your active ones are really the ones that you're contracted with. And then all engagements are just history. So you can keep in contact with those clients and have all the historic engagements you've had right there. You'll see there's some status tags at the far right of the dashboard, and those are just another way to reflect the status of where your engagement is. So these ones are green and they say contracted. It just lets you know the exact status of that engagement. And then something everyone will want to focus on, of course, is the finances, right? So down below your picture, you have a finance section, and this keeps track of your total earnings, but also pending. So that way, if you have any outstanding invoices, we track it all for you right in that area, so it's easy to get to.
Wonderful.
We also now are going to go over notifications. So before, we were notifying all our experts with new engagements, but we understand, maybe you're not comfortable with a speaking engagement, or maybe, you really want to focus on speaking engagements and would rather do less blog writing or video content. So now you guys have the ability to really personalize your notifications. And to do so, we did just post a blog about it, so you guys can certainly head over to the blog and check out all our new updates. But this one, you just edit your profile, and through that, you'll be allowed to edit your notifications. And here you can turn on and off engagement specific conditions, specific conditions for the engagement. So you have the ability to update these at any time, and you can turn them all on if you want, but if you're just looking for something more specific, you have the ability to do so now.
And I think it's important to note as well here that you can decide if you want the emails or text messages as well. It's right on that notification page. So you can get texts, you can get emails, and this right here, right on your profile under notifications is how you do that.
Because so many times when I get an email, I don't. But when I get the cell phone, that is a really good one. So I do appreciate that. I have those ones on too. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. Each of us are different. We want to be notified differently. Perfect. All right. So those were just a few tips on kind of getting started once you log in. But let's get into the meat of why we're here tonight and talk about the engagement process for WEGO Health Experts. So there's really 4 easy main steps to the engagement process within WEGO Health Experts. First, you're going to browse for engagements. You're going to look to see if you're interested in any of them. 2, you'll submit a proposal. Hopefully you submit a winning proposal, and then you get hired for number 3. Once you're hired, you execute flawlessly to the best of your ability for that engagement. And then 4, you get paid right through the platform. Today we are going to focus on numbers 1 and 2, so browsing engagements and submitting a proposal. We will definitely do other webinars on getting hired and getting paid, but today we're going to focus on 1 and 2. So, number 1, browsing engagements. So, how do you browse for the engagements? Once you log into WEGO Health Experts, you're taken to your dashboard. But if you go to the top of the page, you'll see that there's the Find Engagements button. If you click that, you'll see all of the engagements listed. So this really is just a job posting board, just like any other job posting site. You'll see every single engagement that is posted for a client has posted. You'll see just the title of it, and then you'll see a brief description of it. Now, if you want to know more about that engagement, if you click on the title, it will open up a screen and you can see more about it. So then you are right on the exact engagement page. Now, from that engagement, you have 3 choices. 1, maybe you read it and you say, not up my alley, totally not in my wheelhouse, I'm not going to do it. So you go back to the engagements and you keep browsing. You have a second action that you might take. Maybe you have questions. Maybe you want to know a little bit more about the engagement. Maybe you don't understand exactly what they're asking, or you want to know what the timeline is or what the deliverables are. You can absolutely ask a question. Or 3, maybe you're like, yes, this is totally up my alley. I totally want to do this, and you want to submit a proposal. So the first option, you just go right back to the Find Engagements page and you keep on looking. But let's dive into the other 2, submitting questions and submitting a proposal. Now, if you're looking at the engagement screen, so right now on the screen, we see an influencer marketing engagement. You'll see on the left-hand side, it tells you exactly what the engagement is. And on the right side, you'll see actions, and there's 2 actions, submit an inquiry and submit a proposal. So the submitted inquiry button is for questions. So exactly like I said before, if you want to know about timelines or deliverables or anything at all, maybe something was just not clear, or maybe you just want to reach out and talk to them, that's the button that you're going to click. So let's pretend like we have a question for this engagement. We're going to submit an inquiry. We're going to click that button. And then just a simple message box pops up, and that's where we can just type in our questions. So maybe we want to ask about that timeline. Maybe we want to ask about the ways we would utilize social media within that engagement. Whatever it is, you type it in there, and then you just hit Submit Inquiry. And once it does that, it sends it over to the client. And what you do is what that does is open a dialogue between you and the client. So then any further communication that you have, it's going to be shown in your chat box. Now, the way you get to that is at the top of your page, you click that little envelope button and it opens up your chat. So it's basically like Facebook Messenger, or if you're on Twitter and you're looking at your direct messages, it's directly messaging between you and the client. So once you submit an inquiry, all of your messages will be there. And then you can ask any question that you want and that you have. Now, it's important to note that this does not mean that you are applying for the engagement. This does not mean that you have a contract at all. Even if you start talking and maybe the client says, oh yeah, we'd love to engage with you on this contract, you still need to submit a proposal, okay? So the inquiry button is just for questions. So let's talk about submitting a proposal. Say you ask all your questions and you're like, absolutely, I totally want to do this engagement. What do you do next? Well, you go back to that engagement, and instead of selecting the submit inquiry button like we did before, you hit the submit a proposal. And to submit a proposal, it's going to bring up the proposal screen, and you'll see that there's a few fields here that you'll need to fill out. Number one is budget. So this is what you would charge the client for you to execute this engagement. When you can start. So maybe it's today, maybe you can't start for a month. You put in a start date. And then your proposal summary. So we are now going to dive into exactly what we believe you should put in here so that you can really submit a winning proposal. Over the last year, it's been interesting to see the experts' proposals that have come in. Sometimes they're 2 sentences, sometimes they're 10 paragraphs long and have 10 attachments to it. And really, it depends on the engagement. It depends on what you are trying to convey to the client, really with what you put in there. But there are 5 elements that we really believe make a winning proposal: objectives, payment, deliverables, timeline, and credibility. So let's dive into those. What does that mean? So number 1, objectives. Whenever you read an engagement, the client is telling you exactly what they need. Maybe they need you to consult to do an influencer marketing campaign. Maybe they need your insights on an advisory panel. Maybe they want you to help create an app. Whatever the engagement is asking you to do, you need to respond back with how you're going to do that. How are you going to meet the objectives that are laid out in the engagement? So for instance, if it's an influencer marketing campaign, you're going to talk about the ways that you would execute that. How would you get it out into your network? How would you let people know about it? How would you get people to sign up? This is really important because when clients read it, they want to know exactly why they should pick you and how you're going to execute it. So number 1 is objectives. Make sure that you answer those in that. Number 2, payment. Okay, so this is a big one. Now, if you remember on that screen that I showed you before, the first field that you fill out is budget. And this is what you would charge the client for your fee for the engagement. Now, we get a lot of questions about what should I charge and, what's an appropriate fee. I'm actually going to get a little bit deeper into that once I go through these 5. But what I want to say here is that it's very much up to you what you want to put as your fee. Now, we don't want you to sell yourself short. A client will put a budget on their engagement of what they're looking to spend, but don't feel like by any means you have to only stay in that amount. So say for instance they put 500, but you read the engagement and you're like, wow, this is a lot of work. I estimate it would be 1,000. You should still put that in your bid. We have seen many clients don't maybe understand exactly how much they should charge, and they have gone with experts that have placed higher bids because they want the quality of the work, right? They want it done very well. So let's pause on the payment, and I'll talk about it in one second once I go through these. But number 2 of a successful proposal is payment. Number 3, deliverables and benefits. Okay, so what are you going to deliver to the client? Based on those objectives that they want, what are you going to give them? Maybe it's content, so maybe you're creating videos. Maybe it's social posts. Maybe it's a blog post. Maybe it's an Excel sheet with a recruitment list. Whatever it is, you want to spell it out completely so that the client knows exactly what you would be giving them. Now, you do the best of your ability. Sometimes clients don't spell out exactly what you need within an engagement. Maybe that's a great question to ask, or maybe that's something that you discuss once you're hired. But do your best and put in exactly what you would deliver. Timeline. Again, this is really dependent on if the client tells you it. Usually they will put some kind of timeline in there. Maybe it's starting next week or working with us until February. And again, that's a great question to ask. Hey, what's your timeline? When do you need someone to start? What are your benchmark points of this project? So it's something to very much consider and put in there. Now, it's also interesting, use your experience, your past experience. So if you're doing a recruitment project and you know that it's going to take way more than a week or two to fill that recruitment, make sure you tell that client, be upfront with them. They will appreciate your honesty, and they're going to see that you are bringing expertise and you know what you're talking about. And that leads me into number 5, credibility. Why are you the best expert for the job? What relevant experience or what certification or what in your network or what in your past life have you done that makes you the absolute best person for this job? And you want to make sure that you put that there. So when I think of proposals, I kind of think of it twofold, like I'm applying for a job. Whenever I submit a proposal to a client, they are able to see my WEGO Health Experts profile. And that's really like my resume, right? You put your job history, your interests, everything on there so you can see that. But this written proposal is really like your cover letter. So we're selling ourselves to the client. Why should we be picked? Why am I the best person? Have I done this before? Maybe I have. Maybe I've done it flawlessly and I have it down to a science and there's absolutely no one else that they should hire. You definitely want to convey that in your proposal. So these are really the 5 elements that we believe. Now, I told you to table the payment thought for 1 second, so let's get into that. So when you are proposing your expert's fee, that budget fee, there are 3 important things that we really want you to think about when you do that. 1, break down the engagement. Think about how long and all the work it's going to take you to do this engagement. So if you're doing a recruitment project and someone says we need 50 patients and we need them by next week, but you know that your network isn't really responsive and you know that it's going to take a lot of outreach and that you're going to have to make some phone calls, you definitely want to consider that. So every hour that you know you're going to spend, you definitely want to account for it. Make sure to take into consideration your timelines and your deliverables and everything that they're asking, okay? So really you want to forecast out exactly how long it's going to take you. And then you want to calculate your value as an expert. And this is something that I believe if you are very well versed in the consulting world, you may understand more. But as an advocate or an influencer who are really just getting started in this field, we really undervalue what we bring to the table. We don't think about all of the skills that we have. Maybe it is from college, or maybe we have a PhD. Maybe we didn't go to college, but we have certifications, or, and we really undervalue the experience we bring as a patient or a caregiver as well. That's invaluable. And one major thing that we undervalue is our network, okay? So we didn't create a network online overnight. We didn't get 5,000 or 10,000 followers overnight just by throwing out a few blog posts. No, we cultivated those relationships. We talked one-on-one. We built up that trust in that respect within the community. So you definitely want to value and calculate that in your fee. So if someone is asking you to post something for $10 on your fee and you have 20,000 followers that has taken you, years to cultivate, that doesn't seem like a fair exchange for your time. So make sure that you really are calculating that into your fee, okay? And the last thing, one thing I do want to point out with that is if you don't know how to calculate that, a really great tool is to go to Clout, and it will look at your network and all your followers, and it will actually give you prices that they believe that you should be charging. So I know a lot of our experts use that for social influencing engagements and blog posts and things like that. So that's a really great tool to use. So if you go to Clout, that really can help you. And then the last thing is to consider our service fees. So here at WEGO Health, we are absolutely not trying to rip you off at all. And to be honest, it's the exact opposite. We are trying to empower you. We are really trying to move forward and show the healthcare industry that they are missing an untapped potential with every single one of you, right? I mean, each and every single one of you brings so much to the table. So we do have some fees that we need to take out so that we are able to have this platform. Things like having that intercom and being able to help facilitate your profile and setting up and answering tech questions. If you have questions on engagements, we are always here. If you're stuck and you don't know what to do with the client, reach out to us. Don't hesitate to reach out to us. We want to make sure that this works for you, that it works for the client. We're always here. And one of the biggest things that we do is we take the stress out of getting paid. You know, you fill out your W-9 the first time that you do an engagement. We keep that on file. And then all you have to do is submit invoices through the platform and we take care of the rest. Something goes wrong, we're going to step in and help you get paid. That's no stress on your end. Really, it's an easy way for you to run your business. Just throw all your invoices through experts and you don't even have to worry about it. Calculates it all out at the end of the year and you have a running total. So these are just some of the things that go into our service fee. Now, when you are putting in your budget, think about this service fee. So if you are new to the platform, you haven't done a lot of engagements, we will take the 18% service fee out of your invoice. Now, that's up to $5,000 earnings on the platform. Once you hit 5,001, your service fee goes down to 15. And once you hit 10,001, your service fee goes down to 10% for life. So whenever you are filling out your proposal, keep that in mind. If you think that something's going to take you X amount of hours and you value your time at $500, mark it up a little bit so that you get that $500 at the end of the day after we take that service fee out. We want to make sure that you're getting paid fairly, and this is definitely something that you want to take into consideration when you're filling out your proposal. All right, so let's look at a couple proposals that we believe are good ones and just show you a few examples. Okay, so this first one is a proposal for a podcast that we did last year. And you can see at the top, he talks about his credibility, why he should be considered for this role. He's produced, edited, and distributed 300 plus podcasts. That's a lot of podcasts. That makes me think, hey, he knows what he's doing, right? Deliverables, he broke it down and said exactly what he would provide us when he would do this. So when we looked at these proposals, we thought, okay, we know exactly what we're getting when we hire this expert for this engagement. So that's an example of a good one. Oops, sorry. Next one here for an advisory board. Again, that second paragraph really talks about his credibility, how he has team building and project management experience, and really how he can bring that to the table in this engagement. And then he breaks down the objectives that were in the engagement, what his responsibilities would be, how he's really going to help execute this project. So that's an example of another great one. And then this last one here, again, simple, bulleted. I totally get what this person's going to do for my influencer marketing campaign. They specifically show me the objectives. They specifically show me the deliverables. And I just thought of one thing that I didn't hit on before. Whenever you are submitting a proposal, there is the ability to attach files. So for instance, on this influencer marketing campaign, when say I filled this out and I wrote this out and I said, those are my objectives, those are my deliverables. Maybe I want to attach some blog posts or maybe some videos that I've done in the past so that the client can see that. I'm able to easily just click the attach file button right on the proposal, select those files, and upload them right into the proposal so the client can see it. So Those are our 5 elements to a successful proposal. Thank goodness, I can't speak. Number 1, objectives. Make sure that you clearly spell out the objectives that the client is asking for and how you're really going to execute that. Payment. Make sure you take everything into consideration, your expertise, what you bring to the table, how long it's going to take you, all of that, and the service fees. 3, deliverables and benefits. What are those deliverables that you're going to give to the client? Are you going to be giving them a PowerPoint? Are you going to be giving them videos? If you're going to be giving them videos, are you going to give them templates? Are you going to give them drafts? When are you going to give them the final version? So spell all that out. 4, timeline. Write out how long it would take you, how long you estimate the project to be. If they give you that information of when it would start and when it would end, you can talk about that. And then the most important thing is credibility, why you're the best. Really sell yourself on the job. Actually, I was talking to an expert recently, and I loved this tidbit. He had wrote a proposal, and at the end of it, and he said, "All right, let's get to work." And I read it, and I thought, yeah, all right, let's get to work. And I said, hey, I really liked that last line that you put in there. And he said, every time I write a proposal or every time I talk to a potential client, I always end with some kind of, hey, let's get to work, or how are we going to get started, or what's the first step, so that it really makes me look like I'm eager to start this project. And then it puts the onus on them to say, all right, let's start, let's get this rolling. So I thought that was a really great tip.
I think it's also really important, I'm going to say, to add, to remember that a lot of clients are new to working with the patients, just like you guys are new to maybe consulting. So, before WEGO Health Experts started, it was a lot harder to find the opportunities. And that's why we created this platform to really connect healthcare companies that want to collaborate with patients and patients that want to, be more consulting. So I think it's a learning experience on both sides. And I think that's something to keep in mind. I know we get questions all the time from experts, as Julie was saying, what should the payment be? And we get that from clients too. What should we be paying the patient? So it's all very, we're very transparent, and we're all trying to build this together. But I just think keeping in mind that, even if you feel maybe uncomfortable in your consulting position, that the client is new to this too. So just keep that in mind. I think that's helpful going forward.
Yes. So questions. We're happy to answer questions. If we didn't answer your question already, feel free to pop it in the chat box.
We're watching on Facebook too, so certainly feel free to add a question there.
Yeah.
Maybe everyone's just ready to rock and roll though, and hit the platform with their rock star proposal. I hope that's the case.
Which is a great thing. Yeah. So hit your dashboard, go to your find engagements, start scrolling through those engagements. Clients are waiting. Okay, so we have a question. How many engagements per year do you typically call? That's a really great question. Now, the platform's only a year old, so I'll start with that. But really, it depends on how much time you have to be looking at the engagements, how much time you have to actually to execute them. So if you're someone who has a full-time job and you only want to take 1 or 2 engagements on a year, that's perfectly fine. You log on, you respond when you can. But if you're someone who's looking for them to really supplement your income on a monthly basis, there are always new engagements up there for you to be looking at. So make sure you go to your profile and set up your notifications so that you're notified when they roll in, so you can be the first to bid on it. So there's really nothing overall that says, this is how many we have.
And I also think it's really important, like I was going to mention when we were going our service fees, you guys would be surprised how quickly people hit the 10 grand mark. So going into this, you might even have to do 1 or 2 engagements a year and you go home with 20 grand. We've had people who have made 10 grand right before going. I know one expert made 10 grand right before she went to Europe. And I was like, what a great additional shopping, that's going to be a fun trip. So it's really, it's made to be flexible so you can work with your life and your work schedule. We don't want to stress you out. We know you're doing so much as patient leaders as it is. So it really allows that flexibility to choose as you'd like, but you definitely can hit that 10 grand mark fairly.
Yep. Great. Any other questions? I think one of the two biggest questions we get are about how to fill out the proposal. So hopefully those 5 tips really help you. And if you forget them, don't worry, they're on our blog. You can go search that. And we'll also put this up there as well. Okay, here's a question. How has the service grown over the year? How many companies post engagements? That's a really great question. And I wish I knew off the top of my head. I really should know. I know Kristen, do you know off the top of your head? You're going to have to get back on the exact number.
Oh, I don't have an exact number,
No.
but definitely we've seen a great growth in the last year. I think we've worked with over 100, 200 companies, and, we're building more and more relationships. Again, just as it's kind of a foreign concept to patients to become consultants, we're really working on healthcare, really convincing and educating. Really, it's educating them the value that these patients are adding. So like that service fee, like Julie was talking about, a lot of that service fee goes into really educating and marketing to other clients so that they can see how valuable patients can be to their, projects and businesses and panels. So it's definitely growing, but as everything in healthcare, it takes education and time, which I'm sure we all know.
Yeah, absolutely. And someone else asked for examples of typical clients. And really, we're seeing a ton of different, it's really a variety of clients. We have consulting clients. We have agencies who work with bigger companies on different projects, or maybe they're fielding surveys. We worked with, there's so many different ones.
There's so many. If you go on Experts, you can actually see lists of different clients that we've worked with, ones that you'll certainly recognize, and maybe some that are more small, nonprofit that, are trying to get into this and starting to work with patients.
Yeah. Conference organizers who are looking for speakers, smaller healthcare companies that are just getting off the ground that are looking for influencers to help get the word out. So really it's, overall breadth of really great different clients. And it's something that as the platform grows, we're attracting more and more types of clients, which is really, really exciting.
Oh, Bob asked, can you explain the difference between objectives and deliverables? Okay, that's kind of similar. And I would say objectives are what's the client asking of you, I would say. So if he wants, if the client wants a content marketing campaign for mental health, that would be an objective. And then your deliverable would be, and how are you going to do that? I'm going to post it on my Facebook page. I'm going to paste it in my Facebook group. I'm going to write a blog post about it. So deliverables are kind of how you get the objectives done. That makes sense.
Yep. All right, question. The founders of WEGO Health are from what industry? What kind of ties do you have existing sectors? So great question. So Jack, our founder, WEGO Health is not new, right? We've been around for over 10 years, and we've been doing a lot of sponsored programs. And over the years, we've been reaching out to our network, cultivating it. We have over 125,000 patient leaders that we work with. So the platform is new within the last year, but WEGO Health is not new. Jack comes from a very varied background. He worked at Yahoo. He's worked in healthcare. He's worked with agencies, tons of different companies. David Goldsmith, our Chief Strategy Officer, comes from a really great healthcare background too. So we really have wonderful ties within the healthcare industry as a whole. So pharma, health plans, agencies that are working with pharma or working with financial institutions. Honestly, it's endless, really, where kind of the tentacles of WEGO Health go. It's pretty cool. It's really exciting.
I think it's pretty cool. Like, we've got a great team of leaders who are all different parts.
If you're interested to see the leadership team, if you go to wegohealth.com, if you go to the top bar, there is the team button. So if you can click on that, you can kind of see everybody's bios if you're interested in learning more about it. Cool. All right. Well, thank you everyone so much for attending tonight's webinar. We will have a replay up on our website. And if you are a WEGO Health account holder, so if you're an expert or if you have a WEGO Health account, maybe you were in the WEGO Health Awards, you have access to our closed Facebook group. So if you log into wegohealth.com, the right-hand corner, there's the login button. Log in there, and you'll see a button that will take you right to our Facebook group. We will have this replay always in that group, and you can always watch it, subsequent webinars there as well as connect with other patient leaders. So thank you so much for joining us tonight. We hope that we were able to answer some of your questions and really dive into the elements of a proposal. And we can't wait to see your proposals come through, and hopefully that you will be that winning bid that the client is looking for. So thank you so much. Thank you for all your support on the WEGO Health Experts platform, and we will see you soon.
Bye, guys.
See ya.